Hey guys, how are you? Miss Doctorov coming to you again. I'm fired up. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? It was so good to see you yesterday. Thank you so much for coming to join us in the video conference, and I'm hoping that we'll do that more often starting next week so that we can, check in and hang out a little bit here and there. So, yesterday we were talking about the Great Depression and the causes for it. And remember, through COOP, there were deep underlying issues in the American economy, primarily the uneven distribution of wealth, when 5% of Americans were really rich and controlled a third of American wealth, while 60% of Americans lived under the poverty line and could barely afford anything. So, with more and more people getting poor, fewer of them were able to buy stuff, so the buying power was reduced. That meant that many businesses and factories cut the production or sale of certain items, which meant that they laid off workers who they no longer needed to produce those items. Which means that the buying power got even worse since people were now laid off and did not have the money. Unemployment benefits were not a thing yet. So businesses started reducing more and more, and it became kind of downward spiral, getting out of control. The stock market crash was kind of the exploding of the event. Remember, people started selling the stocks a little by little to try to recoup their money. So the price of the stock, due to supply and demand, started going down, and eventually everyone panicked and decided to just sell everything. So at that time, stock market crashed. People tried to go to the bank to try to retrieve their money. However, many of the people were relied on credit, and the credit was easily available, and they couldn't pay their their loans back, whether it was mortgage or loan for a car. They couldn't pay it back, so they started defaulting on their loans. Oh, just basically saying, "Yep, I can't pay for that fridge." So the company would come and take that fridge, but they can't resell it to anyone anymore, so they can't get the money back to the bank. So that time, at some point, banks ran out of money and closed. So people's life savings were wiped out. It was crazy. And at the worst parts, it was about 25% of the unemployment that resulted in many disadvantages for people, the lack of health care, poverty, homelessness, malnutrition, and things like that. Including those very severe mental health issues that people experienced as a result of this crisis. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is how this impacted the worldwide. How did the Great Depression, the issues that we had in America, spill over to all kinds of countries? So we need to go back to the Treaty of Versailles that imposed very strict reparations in Germany. So Germany is economically devastated after the war. Lots of labor force was killed, and lots of items, factories and farms and all over that stuff like that was destroyed due to the war. And now they have to pay this humongous reparations. So what Germany did during the war is, instead of raising taxes or creating, propaganda for bonds the way we did in the United States and many other countries, they just printed more money. Well, if you just take a $20 bill and bring it to a copier machine and make a bunch of copies, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you become richer. So the value of the money is determined by the gold reserve that the government should have. Basically, should have enough gold to back up the value of the money, and that's how you print it. So Germany ended up printing an enormous amount of money, just like actual papers, during the war, and these papers became worthless. So in the textbook, you might recall the examples when people had to take a whole wheelbarrow worth of paper money in Germany to a store to buy a loaf of bread. So again, each individual paper was pretty much worthless, just because, again, the value of the money was reduced. It was not increased. They just printed more of it. So Germany is devastated, and now it has to pay the reparations to other powers as well. Also, one of the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles was that Kaiser Wilhelm II is no longer the ruler of Germany. Germany is no longer allowed to be a monarchy. So what Germany starts to have is called Weimar Republic. It is started after the World War One, pardon me, and the representatives of this Weimar Republic were the ones to sign the Treaty of Versailles on behalf of Germany. People of Germany are really upset about the Weimar Republic. First of all, they blame this democratic regime for the humiliations of the Treaty of Versailles. Somehow, they don't blame the generals and the Kaiser who were in power during the World War One for the loss of the war or for the war itself. They blame the Weimar Republic for the poor Treaty of Versailles. Also, they've gone from an authoritative leader of, a monarch who can just single-handedly just make any decisions that he or she may want, to a democracy. You've seen this in the United States lately when they debated the relief package or impeachment. It takes a while to decide something of value, of big, major decision in a democratic regime. So Germany is suffering from economic issues, inflation, and other things, and people are struggling, like really, really struggling financially. And the government is really not efficient. They just have a bunch of parties that are bickering and they can't really go to any conclusion. So in the midst of this, America comes up with this plan. It's called Dawes Plan, named after Charles Dawes, which was one of the bankers. And basically, we say that we will give Germany money. Not just Germany, actually, the whole Europe who needs it. A huge amount of money. We're talking about 200 millions of dollars to help them rebuild their economy. Obviously, with interest, we're going to give it as a loan, but nevertheless, they were eager to take it. And Dawes Plan is overwhelmingly successful. Germany is really going back to its feet in terms of economic production. People are feeling better. England is thrilled. France is really grateful for all of this. So we're really helping them all, Germany being our main target, just giving them money so they can rebuild themselves. So now fast forward to the Great Depression, stock market crash, and all that's happening. Well, at that time, we were really interconnected. Due to the Dawes Plan, our economy became really interconnected with the European economy. So once we fell, we started demanding our payments from European countries, and we stopped giving them the money to continue their growth. Moreover, we wanted to make sure that people are buying American goods to support our American production. So we imposed tariffs or taxes on imported goods on other countries. So basically, if you want to buy a chair from America or a chair that's made in Italy, Italian chair would be more expensive, right? That's how tariffs work. So the idea was that people in America would buy American chairs, and our American factories would produce more chairs, which would make more people working to make chairs, etc., right, to speed up the economy. Well, the problem was that European countries got really mad about it because we were no longer buying their products as much. So they imposed tariffs on our goods. So as a result, international trade pretty much stopped. There was no international trade that could help save a little bit and bring some kind of supply and demand in it. No, it came to a halt. So that's how the Great Depression started to affect Europe as well. So then yesterday we concluded with talking about the New Deal, how we managed to create this infrastructure work and bridges and lands. And it's not just that, we built lots of theaters and lots of murals and lots of art exhibitions as a result of that as well. Many other European countries were also successful and followed a similar suit. Scandinavian countries, Britain, France, with more different level of efficiency, they were able to do it. What they all have in common, however, is that they have had democratic regimes for some time. They know how democracy works. They are accustomed to the bureaucracy that takes time. They trust their democracy. Well, Italy became a democracy. Well, constitutional monarchy, realistically. Germany became a democracy against its will. Remember, they are not really that happy about the Weimar Republic anyway, because they blame it for the Treaty of Versailles humiliation. So now Weimar Republic is not as efficient in getting out of Great Depression. It takes time, and people are fed up. And they remember when we talked about totalitarian regime, we said that one of the reasons that people would choose that is because they really want change, and they want to change quick with a strong leader to do it. And that's how Hitler gets to power. So this next week we're going to talk more about the rise of fascism in Germany and Italy, and how it's similar or different to communism, and what was fascism all about. So please try to follow the resources I post online, try to answer the discussion questions, and if at all possible, try to watch the video. I know that it's not free, so if you can't do it, don't, but I think it might help you understand what it was like. Some people in the past would have kind of rented on one account and then just share an account. If you can manage to all watch it, no, not all watch it, but at least some people watch it in the same day, you can try to save cost like that as well. All right, till next week. Bye-bye.